Boom, Watch Fam! What is up, Watch Fam? Welcome to episode 84 of Ask TNH. I'm Christian, your host of said show from Theo and Harris. So check out theoandharris.com when you're done. Before we jump into this episode, quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing a sick Waltham chronograph, which is available on our site. I love the orange seconds in this watch, and that's it. I just genuinely have a, pretty deep appreciation for the design on this watch. Oh, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, by the way. Now let's get into the questions. Today we're going to talk about a personal favorite watch of mine. So I'm actually excited to give a really glaringly good review of something. And its main criticism, people can shove up their own ass. So let's do it. I am always getting questions from people looking for chronographs. It is a constant stream of questioning. I'd probably say 10 times a week, okay, maybe even more. I love watches. I'm not huge on dress watches, but I like refinement. I don't necessarily need a sub, but I need a chronograph. So what is like a not sub looking chronograph? And my answer is always all around, depending on what I'm thinking that week or what has really impressed me recently. And it really is always different, depending on the person and what their budget is or so many different things. But given probably even no budget, and this is a really big statement, and I may be wrong and I may contradict myself in 3 months, but even given no budget, I genuinely think, apart from the size at 42 millimeters, that I would take the Zenith El Primero Chronograph Classic over probably any other chronograph on the market. That's a huge statement, and I know I'm probably wrong, and I will be, maybe I'll prove it in 4 months or whatever it may be, but it is still a testament to how passionate I am about this watch. Why? Foremost, before anything else, I genuinely love Zenith. I think that Zenith represents incredible value in the vintage market. Because I am a vintage dweller, I'm always in vintage, I'm always dealing in vintage and loving vintage, and my whole life is consumed with vintage watches. I spend so much time appreciating Zenith. And I'm not always buying them, I'm not always selling them. It's actually a kind of an unpopular watch that I buy and sell, only because I have a problem selling them. I buy them less because I don't sell them as quickly for some reason. And I think that it's because people really don't see the value yet. And I'm doing my best to communicate that to people, but I've been unsuccessful thus far. Still, Zenith is an incredible brand. From their manually wound vintage dress pieces like we have in the shop, all the way up to the El Primero, you have incredible quality, in-house manufacture, terrific design on top of all of those things. So to me, Zenith brand means a lot. And because it means a lot, I hated when Zenith was marketing like children. When they were doing the Rolling Stones endorsement, it was disgusting. It's useless. It's a total waste of time. Did it maybe work for them for a second? I really have no idea. I think it's a privately held company, or they're owned by whomever. It's a privately held company. I don't know. It may have worked for a little while. I still think it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. And personally, it would never convince me to buy a Zenith. It would only dissuade me from buying a Zenith. But this watch, on the other hand, represents everything that I want to see out of modern and what I do see in vintage Zenith. It's a refined watch, a classic. It's a chronograph using the El Primero movement, probably one of the biggest achievements in watchmaking history. The high beat movement that was introduced. It's almost second to none, and it's used in so many other watches. I can actually make a whole other video on the El Primero movement one day about how it's found in extreme low prices in other models. But still, let's stick with this one for a second. I mean, look at the dial. It's so refined, it's so beautiful. To me, it's not a watch that you're gonna get down and dirty with. It's not a watch that I'm gonna wear to play soccer like I would with a sub or whatever, but it is the perfect watch for a gentleman to wear a sweater or to wear a shirt and tie or a suit, or even just a long sleeve shirt, and look refined. It doesn't have to be a dress watch, and especially at 42, it isn't really a dress watch because it has that sporty function as well as size, but still, the watch to me has a perfect balance. Would I prefer it at 40, even 39? Yes, I would, admittedly, but that's just me being selfish and me being small-wristed and vintage and all that shit. But in reality, at 42, it is still an incredible deal at $8,600, $8,400, something like that. And on the second hand, I'm sure they can be found for $6 and change. So think about it, at $6 and change, you're just entering Rolex territory. And although I love Rolex and I have a Rolex passion, come on. I mean, you know, a Rolex Oyster Perpetual does not really compare as far as function. In history it does, but Zenith isn't a slouch historically either. So to me, I would actually recommend this over the Rolex. Not to everyone, but holistically, I would. I think it's beautiful. I think that they did a tremendous job showing restraint in their design. I don't give a shit that the El Primero movement is from, you know, God knows when. It's 50 years old. It doesn't matter to me. I know plenty of people had criticisms of that they're still using a movement from, you know, from the year of the flood. And honestly, like, them. You know, good is good, and sometimes, you know, it needs to be appropriated, and sometimes good needs to be changed, and I'm cool with that. You know, the way homes used to be made were brilliant, and they were quality, but now, you know, taking into consideration consumers' values, it had to change. We can't just make shit out of brick all the time anymore. But in this instance, in a chronograph that is in-house, that is Zenith, it's historical, and it's honestly an incredible movement, how can we complain? So what if it's from the 60s? It doesn't matter. That's basically it. I love this watch, and I love giving it a positive review because I don't necessarily know or think that Zenith does an amazing job marketing, but because they've done such a good job developing this watch, even though it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, I give them huge props. I respect them a ton, and I recommend that if you're in the market for a refined chronograph, this is the watch you should be seriously considering. Thank you guys for watching STNH.
Fruit, cherries, blackberries.
He jumps with it.
It even had again, bright fruit, cherries, blackberries.
He jumps with it.
It even had